Hey friends, and welcome to Atypical Life. Today is the first day of school, so I thought I would take you along a little bit. Come along with us while we do our first day and try this out. I don't expect all the kids to sit and do their work the entire time, so they will come in and out of the shots for sure. So that is going to be just the first half of our homeschool day. The little kids are taking a different kind of medication that's making them tired. They just have to readjust and get used to it. So I'm noticing them being a little bit more fatigued since the medicine's working. So it's lunchtime anyway. Haley is actually, I know she hasn't been in the video yet, she's actually sitting kind of off to the side where you can't see her, and she's been coming in to help me. Her schooling doesn't actually start for a couple more weeks, but she's working on some other schooling that I wanted her to finish before she started the 7th grade. Alrighty, so break time is over and things have changed a smidge because of the time of day. It is, we're in oversensory mode, so the girls are gonna be over here doing their schoolwork. I can't show Nikayla because when she gets oversensitive, she removes everything she's wearing, and so she's not gonna be on the video for the rest of it. But Riker is dressed, so I will finish with both of them. You just won't see Nikayla. She's literally right there. So yeah, let's get back to it. This year is for many reasons. One, I'm pregnant and tired, so that's going to change things. Riker is now in our school program. He is in kindergarten, and Haley is doing something different this year. So we're excited about that. The last 3 or 4 years now, we've been using a charter school for homeschooling purposes. They have different types of charter school. California offers many different types, and some of them are ones that are like in-school charter schools, kind of more of a private look like setup. But the way it works is the charter school gets the regular funding like a public school would, and then they have kids that are enrolled, but they are enrolled to do school at home. Kind of like an independent study, except for the parents are the ones that go through and pick all the schooling and all the curriculum and classes that the children take. So we basically have what's called an education specialist come out every 20 school days to collect school samples, make sure that we were doing school, and kind of check up on how everybody's doing. Also, she's our great supporter. We were very lucky with our ES. She's a part of our family at this point in life. She comes over and she helps me with a lot of things. She doesn't just help me with the school things because she's such a sweet lady. She actually comes over and spends time with the kids, plays with them a little bit. She tests them when the state testing and stuff is required. There's certain testing that the school does in the beginning of the year and middle of the year. She does that stuff, make sure it's all in order. Oh, and she offers a lot of support when I have questions about things, or how do we handle certain situations. And our situation is kind of a new situation for everybody. There's a lot of children with disabilities in our school, but not a lot at the same time because it's not a big school. So like, she doesn't have kids with disabilities to the extent my children have them. So we're learning. There's other ways of homeschooling. This is the way we chose. We've done many ways. We've done homeschooling using what's called K-12, and you can actually find it online, k12.com. We found they do have a class, like they're in a school, even though they're their own school. And it's kind of the same thing set up like the charter, except for they pick all the curriculum and they have their own curriculum. And they have their own online stuff that all matches with the curriculum, and you can use them. It's a lot of work for us. It was, for a first grader, it was like 8 hours of work a day. And you had to make sure that you were up to a certain percentage by the end of the year. And it was a lot of work. We did it, but it was so stressful and it was really hard on everybody. So then we decided, homeschooling wasn't supposed to be that hard, and we were supposed to have more of a hands-on approach with that. Like, the whole idea of us homeschooling was that we would be teaching our kids. So we backed off from that and started doing, we declared ourselves our own school, and you don't get public school funding or anything like that. When you declare yourself your own school, that's what it is that on paper, you're teaching your kids. You still have to meet state requirements that are making sure that your kids are doing schoolwork and having that stuff on hand. If you were to be audited for whatever reason, child services, you need to be able to have hard proof that you have done schoolwork and that your kids are learning. But in our situation, that kind of got hard because I didn't know what to get. I did all the research. I did so much research, and then I was looking at all the curriculum costs at the time. We did find a couple free ones. Allinonehomeschooling.com is a really good free resource. Discovery K-12 is also a good free resource, and I really enjoyed those and appreciated those. It's a great setup. I really, really like that setup. But then came along children with special needs. And when you do that kind of schooling, any therapies that need to be done a different way, and it just didn't make sense for us. So we chose to do a charter school, which is a public school, so you have to follow public school guidelines, Common Core and all that to a degree. You have to make sure that all that is set up in place, but most homeschooling families I know, they meet the standards because they have to, but that's not how they teach. They try not to teach that way. So that's where we're at now, is using a charter school. So basically each child is allotted a certain amount of money that is normally given to whatever public school you take your kids to. I don't physically touch the money. I know when we talk about money, some people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you get that much money. I don't actually get that much money. I don't touch it. I say to my education specialist, this is a list of the things I would like from the vendors that they give you. It's a very long list of what are called vendors, and that could either be from Amazon.com for certain educational purposes. That could be, we have a couple learning stores like Lakeshore Learning and A Brighter Child. Those are stores that you can use funding in, or classes. There's piano, there's karate, there's archery, I think I've heard about, cooking, math, English, history, science, all the basics, but then there's a lot of extra. So Haley has taken dance, Haley has taken karate, she still is in karate. Haley has taken coding, theater,
robotics.
She's taken robotics, writing classes. We were having a bout of writing issues in there. She's got math tutoring a couple times. There's a long list of options of different types of ways, different classes you could get your child into, and usually they're pretty easy to get into. They do cost a lot of money, but that's what the funding's for. So basically I submit to my education specialist the things I either need from, like, if I need printer paper, color crayons, markers, things like that, I can get them from like Amazon. I send her a list, she orders them using the school in her own process, and I don't know how that process works, that's between her and school. Or if I want curriculum, a particular curriculum, as long as it follows guidelines, it can't be Christian-based. Any Christian-based curriculum I will show you is because we've purchased that on our own. They don't fund that because it's a public school, so they can't. But things like this was actually out of one of the stores I mentioned, and I go in there, pick a bunch of things out, put them on their table, give them my name, and then they work that out with the school, and so I get them later. Okay, so that's how that part works. So that is how we choose to homeschool the kids, and we've been doing it for a couple years now. Like I said, Riker is just being added into that now because he's kindergarten. This year they're actually doing TK, which they didn't do last year, or he didn't meet the guidelines for it. Either way, he's in kindergarten now, so I have all 3 kids technically registered for public school, which is awesome. So now the curriculum. I have our main curriculum set up in these binders for Riker and Michaela, because Haley is going into the 7th grade, and we knew that we kind of needed a change in dynamic with how our schooling was going. It's not easy to homeschool. We chose to do kind of a hybrid situation. We didn't hear about it until like the end of last year and figured it out, and so we are going through an academy. That's what it's called, Acton Academy. There's actually a lot of them all over the United States, like a hybrid. And what I mean by that, it's like half homeschooling and half not homeschooling, like actually attending school. So she will go for 4 days a week, for 5 weeks, and then she'll be off a week. So she has 4 days, Monday through Thursday, off Friday, and then every 5th week she's off. And then for summer school, they're off for 6 weeks. So this year, another different thing we will be doing is taking more time off from school. We use what's called the Good and the Beautiful. It is a Christian-based curriculum. It is a non-denominational curriculum, which is I really appreciate. So it is not expensive. This is one we do purchase on our own, not through the school, because it is Christian-based. So like Nikayla's binder, I put them in the binder. So this actually right here is her language arts. This is the cover of her language arts. It is originally spiral bound and it's really thick. What's great about this company is like this is the language arts book, but it comes with books to read, readers as they call them. It comes with phonics cards. It came with little reader books and then a big reader book. So, and that one's spiral bound. And they have then lessons. Lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, and so on. So what I did this year with that is I took it out of the spiral and I put them inside these are 3-inch, 2-inch binders. So Nikayla is doing level K of the Good and the Beautiful. They are set up not to follow your traditional grade, your public school grades. She is also intellectually behind, and we figure she's about a year, maybe a little less than a year behind. So she's doing level K, which still seems to be a little bit more of a challenge for her, but I think it'll be okay because you just repeat things over and over. So anyways, I also took sticky notes because these are all marked with what lesson number it is, because some of the lessons, one will be on one side and one will be on the other side of the paper, and so I'll show you what I do with that and why I did it that way. Anyway, so that is her language art. On top of that, we are using handwriting without tears, and so because of the PDD, the pervasive developmental disorder, Nikayla can't write at all. She could scribble. She scribbles pretty good, but that's about it. So this is like one of the worksheets from Handwriting Without Tears. It's the preschool edition. So basically, right this way, she'll go and color the dots, and it builds up to being able to write. With what we're doing with Nikayla, that's going to be like a little different than most people, and I'm actually doing it for Riker too, is that instead of doing this page just today and then doing the next page tomorrow, we're doing this all week long. So I just printed off 5 copies, I hole punched it, and then I put it in with the lesson for the Good and the Beautiful. So where I marked lesson 1, behind lesson 1, I put that page. That way, if something happens with my pregnancy or I get sick or something, that anybody, my husband can come in and just take out the main course of the book or of the schooling and do that on his own. So that's how I did that. And then Nikayla also, because of her grade and where she's at, she's doing, you see this tab, the Good and the Beautiful math for level K also. So that, where's the beginning? This actually has 2 books to it.
You should just go outside.
So that has 2 books to it. This is part 1. It's actually really fat. And they have detail. With the Good and the Beautiful math, you also get a math box. You get flashcards. These I just tore. They're laminated and everything. I tore. Here's some flashcards that aren't done yet. I just have to literally rip them apart. They're squares. And it comes with different math manipulators. I bought this case to put them in. So these are little squares. There's toothpicks for something that's coming up. These are little squares with bees on them to count. These ones are little bugs. There's dice. There's the pattern block pieces, and there's like pictures to do with these too. They're around here somewhere though. anyways, so that's the math curriculum Michaela is doing right now. Rikers, it looks like a similar setup, but what I chose to do for him was the primer K. So it's kind of they have a pre-K, then they have a primer K. And because even though like he's technically not in school until now, we have been doing schoolwork with him for a long time just to keep him busy. So his book is set up the same. Like here's one of his extra little reading books that they give it. They, comes with the package and stuff for him. The difference between this one and Michaela's, one is it's back a little bit, and two, they also add math, like not math, but they have numbers and like understanding numbers and a little bit of counting in here. So he will be doing this for the first less than half of the year, and then he will go to the level K one. Michaela will be ahead of him in the level K one, unless he shows me that he's not understanding this at all, and then I will just redo this again. But he's also doing, because I think he needs a little bit more repetition, so he is doing the handwriting without tears like Michaela. But we're also doing some of the worksheets from, it's called All-in-One Homeschooling, also called Easy Peasy, but it's All-in-One Homeschooling, and they have different things. If you go and you go to them, you pick the grade. For him, he's in the Get Ready 1 is what we're starting him with. And then each day they say, on this day, do this, and here's a bunch of links, and here's a bunch of printouts. And so, like, I've already put the A ones in another binder, and I'll show you why in a minute. So this is like a basic page. There's a couple like cutout art project things that they do, different, that are in here too. So that is what he is doing for school. Together, we are doing history and science together, and I'm kind of starting them backwards a little bit. So more of a preschool kindergarten set up, because I really want them to understand what community and all that means, so that they can understand further concepts. So for, well, that's basically geography, kind of what we're doing. Like today we did all about me, then next week or the week after we'll do about families, and then we'll branch out to neighborhoods and so on. This is all based off of me. I'm not following a curriculum. The curriculum we're using with them, the Good and the Beautiful, they don't recommend doing history or science or any of that until more like the 3rd grade, which most things do that. But in public school, requirements are some social studies, which is understanding what the community is and stuff like that. And so I didn't know that until after Michaela was in kindergarten. So last year I figured that out. Anyways, we're doing that now. What I'm doing with these big old binders for the different lessons to make it easier, so that if something does happen to me, my family, whoever is going to help, will then be able to know that they can pick up. This is the weekly binder is what we're calling this. The big binders are the main binders to hold all of the curriculum in it. The weekly binders will only hold Monday through Friday work in it, plus what work they did that week, and then I'll take it out and put it somewhere else later to hang on to it for our education specialist. I wrote a list in the beginning of here, wrote the list, so that way we can keep track and make sure we're doing it every week. So we're doing Bible study. You saw that we were doing calendar, so that they understand the calendar concept. This is Michaela's binder, so she has language arts and math. We are doing coloring because it's a great occupational therapy to do the coloring for both of them and to understand that concept. Puzzles, I'm going to make sure that those are things that we do every day, because again, they're great occupational things. Social studies right now we're doing all about me and social studies, and then science, all about me, which translates into healthy habits and how to take care of ourselves probably for the next week or two. And for those kind of topics, I will use Pinterest and books. We will read books. That is how I have the binder system set up. We have different books, like towards the end. I don't know how much you could see, but I'm reading these books to them. Social, emotional learning foundations is what this box of books is called. And there's getting along with others, and it's a series of books, and then there's having feelings and how to handle those. So those are really important for most young kids. So we have tons of books that we will read that will fill in for a lot of different places, and then introduce to the kids new topic ideas. Maybe not ones that we will go into detail, but at least start that in their mind, and then elaborate on it as they get older and they understand more. That is our homeschool plan for this year. Kind of trying to keep it more simple this year, much as possible. We still are going to have, Nikayla has 3 therapies. Riker has 1 therapy, but Nikayla also has to meet with a special education teacher. We're going to do 3 days a week right now. Thank you. We're going to do 3 days a week with a special education teacher, a total of like 200 minutes, 225 minutes or something like that she has to do. So we will be busy with that normal stuff. Haley is going to do karate. So that's definitely for the first half. We're trying to decide what we want to do for the second half, if anything will change. So thank you for joining us on our first day of school and the plan for the 2019-2020 school year. I hope to do a little bit more videos on this topic because we have to do learning different, just like everything else. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and feel free to leave comments or questions down into the comments. And if you are new, please hit the subscribe button. This is one of many adventures that we go on because life is an adventure. And we'll see you later.